Afternoon, everybody, and I appreciate you watching this weekly video. A wise man once said, "I made a lot of mistakes and realized I had to let them go. Don't think about your errors or failures, otherwise you'll never do a thing." He is an actor, writer, director, and more, and as legend goes, he's pretty funny too. So today, let's remember Bill Murray.
The more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you.
William James Murray, but you can call him Bill, was born on September 21st, and September 21st is also when this video is getting posted, so happy birthday, Bill. Growing up, Bill was one of 9 children. He was born into a large working-class Irish Catholic family in the 1950s. His mother was Lucille Murray. She is a retired employee of the American Hospital Supply Corporation and is the past president of the NAIM, which is a Catholic widows organization group. The Murray home was said to be the place for dinners and other gatherings in which family members matched wits and humor. Mrs. Murray worked in the mailroom at the American Hospital Supply Corporation for 17 years before retiring in 1986. She was a Democratic election judge for the New Trier Township and passed on November 2nd, 1988. Bill's dad, Edward J. Murray II, was a salesman. Bill was only 17 years old when Dad passed away to diabetes complications.
It's still hard to believe that your parents are gone. It's been a long, long time, and it's still, when you get us all together, it's like what someone's missing.
While his mom and dad were not in the entertainment industry, 4 of their sons were. Children they would have aside from Bill would be Brian Doyle Murray, Joel Murray, John Murray, Peggy Murray, Andy Murray, Edward Murray III, Laura Murray, and Nancy Murray. Bill's brothers Joel, John, and Brian have also been in movies.
Here. My brother James, look how cute he was back then. Look how smart, he's a lot bigger now. And look at me with the ears, the taxi driving down the street with the doors open. Thank God my hair grew in, huh? Yeah. Not yet. I got this for Christmas today from him. I gave him a towel. The VCR is from Grace, James.
Yeah, right. What, are you too good for the show? Yeah, I'm too good for a karaoke contest that makes stars out of people with no talent.
Oh, you can't say that, dude. Some of those kids have real talent.
No, they don't. They have good pitch. They're relatively clean. They're non-threatening to little girls and old ladies. They have the ability to stand in line with a stadium full of other desperate and confused people. But I assure you, they are talent-free.
Damn it, you're drunk! Drunk! The liquor never even makes it to my brain, Dougie boy. You're educated men. Let's get this over with. You came over here for a little fun, a little excitement, and to help your fellow man. Well, you won't help anybody.
Bill went to school at Loyola Academy, an all-boys school in Willamette. He attended Regis University in Denver for 1 year before transferring to the University of Colorado in Boulder, where he studied philosophy for 2 years before dropping out to pursue acting. However, his life wasn't all good times and success.
Your life is interesting, and it seems that it's not a carefully thought out and well-planned life.
What a nice way of saying that. I've never heard anyone be so compassionate towards me. That's really nice.
As a young comedian, Murray was on the brink of ending his life. In an interview from 2014, the star spoke about his early days as a comedian performing in Chicago. He says, "I remember my first experience on stage. I was really bad. I just walked out on the street and started walking. I walked for a couple of hours and realized I had walked in the wrong direction, not just the wrong direction in terms of where I lived, but the wrong direction in terms of desire to stay alive." He recalled, "If I'm going to end my life, maybe I'll float for a while," he said.
Who's your friend? Who's your buddy? I am, aren't I? You're crazy about me, aren't you?
No.
You're incredibly head over heels in love with me.
No.
You're helplessly, hopelessly, deeply in love with me, aren't you?
Yes.
One day, the actor headed for Lake Michigan to end his life. On his way to the lake, Murray found himself in front of the Art Institute of Chicago and was compelled to head inside. He said, "I walked in because I was ready to die." But the desperate comedian thankfully never ended his own life. In Bill's career, he has won a slew of awards, including Golden Globe for Best Actor.
I'd also like to acknowledge the other distinguished members of the musical and comedy category that I'm in this evening. And, but I think it's Too often we forget our brothers on the other side of the aisle, the dramatic actors. And I'd just like to say, without them, where would our war, our misery, and our psychological dramas come from? Let's not forget them tonight. Thanks very much.
Although he was clearly honored to receive the awards, he says that awards are not what motivates him. The performer insists that Tinseltown glory is overrated, though he does appreciate the competitive rates of pay. I always want to say to people who want to be rich and famous, try being rich first. See if that doesn't cover most of it. There's not much downside to being rich other than paying taxes and having your relatives ask you for money. But when you become famous, you end up with a 24-hour job.
You get successful and you become a movie star. It's embarrassing but true. So what do you do now? Being a movie star is like, it's mostly downside, People say, "Oh, give me that movie star thing. I'll be there with a limousine in a second. You can go, you can go be, whatever I do it, but it's mostly downside. I mean, how about losing your whole private life? There's no, nobody factors that. Nobody cares either. I say to people, you want to be rich and famous, go for rich. See if that doesn't cover most of it for you. Really. I mean, the fame thing is like, but the rich thing, I'm rich, but I'm getting away with it. You don't have to look rich, but famous, you're stuck.
As a young man, Bill started out on the wrong note, getting arrested for possession of cannabis. Soon after, his older brother Brian, who'd chosen to go into acting, suggested Bill join him at the Second City in Chicago, which is billed as the world premier comedy club, theater, and school of improvisation. Some Second City alumni include Alan Arkin, Joan Rivers, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Gilda Radner, John Candy, Fred Willard, Steve Carell, and Stephen Colbert. And of course, Bill Murray. He began his comedy career at Second City after the inspiration from his brother. And he graduated to the main stage in 1973, the very same week John Candy joined the company. Second City states that the legend has that Bill Murray once broke the arm of a heckler in the audience, but bought the guy a beer and drove him to the hospital after the show. After his time at Second City, Bill also worked on the National Lampoon Radio Hour.
Have to look at pictures on the radio.
Raising $1 million is no problem.
It doesn't ruin your vision like a TV show.
Watch out, he's got a knife.
Practice yoga on the ground or get up and walk around.
You can do it when you're listening to the radio.
Hello, I'm the Lone Ranger.
You can shave or wash your hair while our show is on the air. You can cook up a fondue and we'd still be coming through. You can stay in bed and you'll find we don't care at all, just as long as you keep listening to the radio.
The Megaphone Newsreel marches around the nation.
And it is my pleasure.
Later, following Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, and John Belushi to join the cast of Saturday Night Live for its second season. His time on SNL allowed him to showcase his talent and diverse group of characters, including Nick the Lounge Singer, a character that was developed at Second City in 1977. He also won an Emmy for outstanding writing for a variety, music, or comedy program. And in 2015, Rolling Stone ranked him 6th in the most influential SNL cast members of all time. He also states that he was stunned by this 1884 painting. It shows a peasant woman in a field with gorgeous orange sunrise behind her. He says, "I've always loved this painting. I saw it and thought, well, there's a girl who doesn't have a lot of prospects, but the sun is coming up anyway, and she's got another chance at it." So I think that gave me some sort of feeling that I too am a person and get another chance every day the sun comes up.
Well, I think it would be back when I started acting in Chicago. I wasn't very good, and I remember my first experience on the stage. I was so bad I just walked out on the street and started walking. And I walked for a couple of hours, and I realized I'd walked the wrong direction. Not just the wrong direction in terms of where I live, but the wrong direction in terms of a desire to stay alive. And so this may be a little bit not completely true, but it's pretty true that I walked. I then thought, well, if I'm going to die where I am, I may as well just go over towards the lake, and maybe I'll float for a while after I'm dead. So I walked over towards the lake, and as I got there, I realized I'd hit Michigan Avenue, and I thought, well, Michigan Avenue, that runs north too, and so I started walking north. and I ended up in front of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I just walked inside, and I didn't feel like I had any place being there. And they used to ask you for a donation, you know, when you walk into a museum, and I didn't. I just walked right through because I was ready to die and pretty much dead. And I walked in, and there's a painting there, and I don't even know who painted it, but I think it's called the Song of the Lark, and it's a woman working in a field, and there's a sunrise behind her. And I've always loved this painting, and I saw it that day, and I just thought, well, look, there's a girl who doesn't have a whole lot of prospects, but the sun's coming up anyway, and she's got another chance at it. So I think that gave me some sort of feeling that I too am a person and get another chance every day the sun comes up.
Now let's talk a little bit more about those SNL years. The cards were stacked against Bill Murray on January 15, 1977, when he debuted on Saturday Night Live. He was replacing Chevy Chase, SNL's first star that departed to pursue a film career. Bill says, "I remember my very first show. I had a sketch that was a little tricky to do, a telephone sketch." Murray later recalled in the book, Live from New York, The Complete Uncensored History of Saturday Night Live, he recalled that they were making him up for the first time and they were trying to make him look old. Well, you don't want your first time on TV to be when they're making you look old. There was like a committee of people going, maybe if you put some gray in his temples, and you're thinking we're going to be in trouble out here. As Murray was still adjusting to his role, and arguments over costumes and makeup didn't make things any more comfortable. He says, "My confidence sort of dropped because I thought this really isn't helping." So on his 6th episode as a cast member, roughly 2 months after his debut, Murray looked directly into the camera and apologized for not being funny. Murray then told everyone his story. Growing up in an Irish Catholic family, one of 9 children, living in a small Illinois town, losing his father at the age of 17, all of which was true, but most importantly, it was funny. He said, "I did this thing, I wrote the thing, and it was kind of funny, and I wasn't too full of myself or anything. There was a couple tablespoons of humility in it. I got laughs, and I think the combination of the two broke some sort of ice with the audience." Though the cast still included talent such as John Belushi, Jane Curtin, and Dan Aykroyd, Murray was the new guy. The pressure was on him to fill the show's Chase-sized hole, and the initial results were not encouraging. And during this time, he had a fight with Chevy Chase. On February 18th, 1978, Chevy Chase became the first former cast member to host. When Murray met Chase, he tried to make things as clear as possible, and that caused a fist fight just minutes before the show. Lorraine Newman tried to stop it, but luckily Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi were able to stop the fight.
It was that same kind of tension that you would get in a family, and everybody goes to their corners because they don't want to have to deal with the tension. And it was uncomfortable. You could understand, there were these two bull mooses going at each other.
They pulled together to create one of the best shows of the season. Now let's talk about when Bill Murray departed SNL. When creator Lorne Michaels left in 1980, so did many of the cast, including Bill Murray. Lorne Michaels wanted a short break, and that turned out to be permanent. That is, until they realized the show needed him and begged him to come back. However, he was meant to be gone forever. You see, SNL aired an episode in which Al Franken, a writer and featured performer, and Michaels' choice of successor did a weekend update calling a limo for a lame-o.
You know who gets complete door-to-door limousine service from NBC? Fred Silverman.
That personally mocked Silverman, who was an NBC executive, and they were protesting the executive's use of a limousine despite NBC's abysmal ratings.
Okay, of the top 10 rated shows this season in TV, now there's some A's there, some B's, some C's, some S's. You see those? You see any N's? No! Not one N.
That deeply upset Silverman and led to such strained relations with SNL that Michaels decided to make his SNL temporary exit permanent. The May 24th, 1980 episode would truly mark the end of an era, as the 4 original SNL cast members who hadn't left the show, which would be Gilda Radner, Jane Curtin, Lorraine Newman, Garrett Morris, and Bill Murray, followed their boss right out the door. While Lorne would come back, Bill would have other ideas. After leaving SNL, Bill would star in Where the Buffalo Roam as Hunter Thompson, and after that, a little movie called
Meatballs. Really?
he would play as Tripper Harrison, and that would start propelling him into a movie career. As teens, actor Bill Murray and his 5 brothers, Andy, Brian, Ed, Joel, and John, spent summers caddying at Indian Hill Club. Caddying ran in the family. The boys' father, Ed Murray, caddied in the 1930s at Edgewater Golf Club in Chicago. It was their experiences at Indian Hill and their tales of coming of age in a caddy yard that inspired Brian Murray to write the 1980 comedy classic, Caddyshack. Which Bill famously played Bushwood's Country Club's hapless greenskeeper, Carl Spackler. Bill started his career acting in comic roles, but later moved on to do more dramatic roles. When researching this video, it became clear to me that Bill Murray, his life and his career would take far too long in a YouTube video. So for his movies, let's just sit back and enjoy some of these highlights.
Okay, Mr. Push-Ups. Let's hear your story.
Chicks dig me because I rarely wear underwear, and when I do, it's usually something unusual. But now I know why I have always lost women to guys like you. I mean, it's not just the uniform. It's the stories that you tell. So much fun and imagination. Lee Harvey. You are a madman. When you stole that cow and your friend tried to make it with the cow, I want to party with you, cowboy.
It definitely had arms because it reached out for me.
Arms? I can't wait to get a look at this thing. Alice, I'm going to ask you a couple of standard questions, okay? Have you or any member of your family ever been diagnosed schizophrenic, mentally incompetent?
My uncle thought he was St. Jerome.
I'd call that a big yes. Egon, this reminded me of the time you tried to drill a hole through your head. Remember that?
That would have worked if you hadn't stopped me.
I don't have to take this abuse from you. I got hundreds of people dying to abuse me.
Wait! I've always wanted to do this. And
The flowers are still standing.
okay. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Did you see it? What is it? We got it.
We have spent $40 million on a live TV show. You guys have got an ad with America's favorite old fart.
Excuse me, Lumpy.
Around these parts, most people call me Mr. Cross.
I'm sorry. I'm new here, and I got a problem.
I bet. What?
Well, my problem is this little fella.
Oh.
I can't get the antlers glued onto this little guy. We've tried crazy glue, but it don't work.
Have you tried Staples? Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Did I forget something, big man?
God blesses everyone.
Put your little hand in mine. Then put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain.
But I think all the time, is she true to me? 'Cause there's nothing in this world to stop me worrying about that girl. I found out I was wrong, she was just too timing. I found out I was wrong, she just kept on lying. Now she tries to tell the truth, and I just can't believe.
October, third examination of Dudley Heinsbergen. All right, Dudley. Make yours like mine.
Raleigh's next book was on the subject of a condition he called Heinsbergen syndrome.
Where's that red one gonna go? Down. Good, very good.
So what are you doing here?
A couple of things. Taking a break from my wife, forgetting my son's birthday, and getting paid $2 million to endorse a whiskey when I could be doing a play somewhere.
Oh.
But the good news is the whiskey works.
Wish I could sleep.
Me too.
That's my train.
Bill Murray, you're a zombie?
Oh, God, I'm on fire! Ouch!
You're not a zombie. You're talking. You're okay.
The hell I am!
I'm sorry. I didn't know that it was you.
Are you? What's with the get up?
All I do it to blend in. You know, zombies don't mess with other zombies. Buddy of mine.
Was in another lifetime.
One of toil and blood. When blackness was a virtue, the road was full of mud.
I came
in
in
from the wilderness,
a
reach
creature
a
void
void
of
of form. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm.
Lines.
3 wavy lines.
It's amazing.
You're amazing with your ability to flood my psychic powers.
I can't believe you used to shock your students.
Between us, I only zap the guys.
Now, aside from movies, he's involved in providing affordable housing to low-income seniors with his work in the HOME project, which stands for Housing Opportunities and Maintenance for the Elderly. Due to his movie success, Hollywood eventually allowed Murray to showcase Otter more nuanced and dramatic characters in projects such as Groundhog Day, Ed Wood, Wild Things, Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, and more. And it would be Rushmore where he would win his Golden Globe. And his role in Lost in Translation would also win him the Best Actor at the BAFTAs, a Golden Globe, and a Best Actor nomination at the Academy Awards.
For an Oscar. You thought you were going to win it.
I really did think I won all the prizes on the
Yes,
way
I
to
know.
it. I was,
I mean, you were the guy.
I had some funny things I was going to say. I was ready to go. I didn't have
What were you
notes or
gonna
anything.
say?
Oh, I was going to say, when I heard I'd been nominated with, and I named these other people, I thought I really had a pretty good chance. That was my and I just saw that no one had ever given that speech.
That's exactly right.
In 2016, Bill was honored with the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. He realized the spoken word and music album New Worlds with German cellist Jan Vogel in 2017. Bill Murray is one of the most iconic actors of all time. His career spans over 5 decades, and he has had a range of roles in many different genres. He has been a comedic actor, dramatic actor, and even a voice actor. Now, still acting, he also plays a new role of someone who just randomly shows up places. For example, that time when Bill Murray crashed a couple's wedding photo shoot. In Charleston, South Carolina, a wedding shoot is in session. I get ready to photograph, says the photographer in the documentary, and as I look through the lens, I see this guy, and it's Bill Murray slapping his belly. Or when Bill Murray read poetry to construction workers. It made no sense to us for Bill Murray to be on a construction site, recalls one worker about the actor's 2009 appearance.
While the other musicians listen in respectful silence to the famous Barking Dog solo.
Or how about when Bill Murray did the washing up at a house party in Scotland? After a day of golfing in Scotland, Bill went into a bar and was approached by a Norwegian anthropology student. The student invited him to St. Andrew's house party, and guess what? Bill Murray accepted and did dishes. Or how about when Bill Murray gave away a World Series ticket to a total stranger? Right before the big World Series game, Bill Murray spots a Chicago Cub fan in need of a ticket, and guess what? He has one to spare. It's front row. And guess what? It's right next to Bill Murray. He turns around and says, here's a ticket. The pure joy on the face of the Cubs fan cozying up next to Murray during the game says it all. Or how about when Bill Murray was a bartender at South by Southwest? This actually happened in 2010. The actor was in Austin during South by Southwest and popped into a Shangri-La bar where he got chatting to the bartender. The guy then asked Bill if he wanted to bartend, and he did. Or when Bill Murray shot a Wes Anderson-style slow-mo scene with fans. In 2011, a low-budget horror crew were creating a commercial shoot with Murray. They were huge fans, obviously, but instead of asking for an autograph, they floated another idea. Murray was up for it, of course, and the end result was viral. Or how about when Bill Murray decided to sing Elvis at a private karaoke party? Or when Bill Murray serenaded a 94-year-old lady on her birthday? Or when Bill Murray crashed a kickball game in New York City? Now, these are just some of the reasons why I personally love Bill Murray and am more than happy to make this video. And I am sure there is so much more we could cover with this icon. However, for now, let's end this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you do have a few seconds, please like this video, share it, subscribe, bell notifications, all that fun stuff, as it really helps the channel grow. My name is Kevin, and I want to say thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Well, tell me what it is that you want that you don't have.
Well, I'd like to be more consistently here, I'd like to really get on I'd like to just, and I know it's not probably ever maybe possible, but because it's so improbable and so impossible, I'd just like to really see how long I could last as being really here, really in it, really alive in the moment,